What's going on, guys? Didn't want to make a video yesterday. When if you're following crypto closely, you know what happened yesterday. Everything was down a lot. And when that happens, I don't like to focus on price or get too sucked into all that craziness. I like to take that time to learn more and hone my skills. And yesterday I spent time learning more about smart contracts. I've learned programming in the past. I know how to use Python, I know how to make websites, C++. I took some C++ classes to do like algorithms and data structures. But I wanted to dive into Solidity and learn more. So yesterday when the price went down, I took that as an opportunity to dive into that and learn more about it. But what I want to talk about today is something I spoke a little bit about last week in my video about my thoughts on the future of the internet, and about Web 2 versus Web 3 is what we're going to talk about today. So Web 2.0 refers to the version of the internet most of us know today as an internet dominated by companies that provide services in exchange for your personal data. Web 3 in the context of Ethereum refers to decentralized apps that run on the blockchain. These apps allow anyone to participate without monetizing their personal data. And I love that about it. I'm a big supporter of data sovereignty and having control over your personal information and privacy. And I love the vision and the mission behind all this crypto stuff. And that's what makes me the most excited about it, is the freedom that it's going to give people around their data and around their personal information. This information is coming from the Ethereum developer docs. It's a really good article, Web 2 versus Web 3. I'm just going to go through it and give my thoughts, and then I'll link it below if you want to explore more. There's a lot of good resources out there. I was reading through them yesterday to learn more about smart contracts and compiling in the Ethereum virtual machine, and came across this one, and I thought it would be a perfect way for me to kind of go through and explain this to you. I don't want to talk too much about smart contracts yet because I'm not an expert on them, and it really wouldn't be very useful to anybody. So I'll give my thoughts on this and we can go through it. So the benefits of Web 3 is that anyone on the network has permission to use the service. In other words, it's a permissionless system, meaning that as long as you have a web wallet and an internet connection, you can connect to these applications and interact with them. You don't have to have a certain amount of money. I mean, you have to have enough money to do the trades or interact with the protocols you want to do, but they don't need your personal information. They don't need to know that you're over a certain age. They don't need to know that you're from a certain country. That's the whole premise behind being permissionless, is that you don't need permission from anybody to interact with these things. As long as you're connected to them, you can do that. No one can block or deny you access to these services. I mean, yeah, it's a permissionless service, and payments are built in with the native token, and on Ethereum, that's Ether. So in Web 2.0 world, let's say you're on Facebook Marketplace and you want to buy something, you're taken to another site, and then you click buy, and then you have to use a third-party processor like PayPal or MasterCard or whoever, Stripe, to process that payment, and you have to enter your personal information in there, and it's a bunch of steps along the way. It's very hard and complicated. I mean, it's not hard and complicated, but there's a lot of room for error, and there's a lot of room for vulnerabilities for hackers to steal your information. But Web 3.0 makes it really easy. You have that web wallet, and those of you who watch my previous videos interacting with Uniswap, these other protocols, know it's as easy as just connecting your wallet to that site. And then if you have to allow the spending of tokens, you click allow, but it's just a couple clicks. It reduces the barriers, it reduces the amount of stuff you have to do. It's just so much easier, so much more secure, and it's really going to change the world. So let's look at some comparisons between Web 2 and Web 3. So for an example, Twitter can censor any account or tweet. Like In Web3, it's uncensorable because the control is decentralized. There's no single person or company that controls the content that's put out there. And I'm constantly seeing people on YouTube saying, oh, my content's getting censored on Instagram, my content's getting censored on Twitter, Facebook, even on YouTube. People are getting censored. But in these decentralized protocols where no single person or entity controls the power, it's impossible to be censored. Payment service may decide to not allow payments for certain types of work, and that's on Web 2.0. I've heard stories of people doing Shopify where they've hit limits, and PayPal will stop paying them, and then they can't pay, the people that supply them their products. I mean, those services are centralized and can pick and choose who they allow to use them, and who shouldn't. So Web 3.0 payments require no personal data and can't prevent payments. As long as you have the money to pay, and as long as you have the tokens and the coins to interact with those protocols, there's nothing to stop you from doing that. Web 2.0 servers for gig economy apps could go down and affect worker income. Web 3 servers can't go down. They use a decentralized network of thousands of computers on the Ethereum network to run their code and distribute the workload across all of these computers. Yes, it's a little bit slower, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but there's no single point of failure. In these large, centralized systems like AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, there's central points of failure, meaning that they're much more performant. Those systems are faster than decentralized systems, but they're single points of failure, meaning that if a hacker gets in there and starts messing around, they could figure out that one little server where everything's coming in and out of, and shut the whole thing down. So let's talk about some of the limitations of Web3. The first one is scalability. Transactions are slower on Web3 because they're decentralized. Changes to state, like a payment, need to be processed by a miner and propagated through the whole network. This is talking about our proof of work system, and where every node in the network has to verify the transactions. So it takes a long time for those thousands of computers to come to consensus. A lot slower than these centralized systems. Second is our user experience. Interacting with Web3 applications is, it doesn't take the extra steps like on the back end when you're filling out your information, but it takes a few extra steps to get set up. You got to get a MetaMask wallet set up, or any other web wallet, and you need to understand and know what you're doing. You have to understand gas fees. You have to understand allowing the spending of coins. You have to know a little bit about how to use these things right now, because it is very new. And cost, deploying smart contracts is expensive, and gas fees on the network are expensive. I mean, yesterday I saw gas up over 400, 500 gwei, and I mean, it makes it impossible for people that don't have a whole lot of money to interact with the network. And I mean, that's one of the reasons why ETH 2.0 is so important, and things like Arbitrum running on Chainlink nodes, so that we can reduce the gas costs and increase the transaction throughput, so that we can have more people and give access to these amazing tools to everybody. Because right now I feel like there's only people that have the money are able to get in, and I don't want it to be like that. I want everybody to be equal, and I like that about Web 3.0, is that it kind of levels the playing field. But right now, with the price obstacles, it kind of doesn't level the playing field. So I'm really excited to see how we can bring that down. So we'll go through centralization versus decentralization here. Centralized systems normally have higher performance, and if there's conflicting data, it's easy and clear to resolve that, because there's normally a centralized oracle or some kind of service running in those systems that decides the final outcome. There's the difference between decentralized and distributed, I guess. puts this the best. Decentralized means that there's no single point where the decision is made. Every node makes a decision for its own behavior, and the resulting system behavior is the aggregate response. So all of the Ethereum nodes and miners kind of are trying to mine their own blocks, and they reach consensus after, somebody finds a nonce, or somebody propagates that block to the network, and then people begin to accept it. And distributed means that processing is shared across multiple nodes, but the decision may be centralized and use complete system knowledge. And this is what I was talking about a second ago, is that these distributed systems and these centralized data centers, there's a lot more computers. Like there's thousands of computers and CPUs running these things, but there's normally only one system that's going to make the final decision. All of the computers don't have a say. They're just kind of being told what to do. There's no single point of failure in Web 3.0 applications. Coordination is often difficult in 3.0 systems because there's no single agent that has a final say in network level decisions. It takes the entire network to agree and come to consensus for things to get done. So I hope I did a good job at explaining the difference between Web 2.0 and 3.0, and I recommend going and watching the other video. I'll link it in the description below. But I just kind of wanted to get this out there and get my thoughts. I know I'm not the best at explaining these things, and I'm trying to practice and get better. But if you do like this, subscribe. Lets me know I'm doing a good job. Hit the like button, hit the dislike button, or comment. I've been getting a couple good comments. Yesterday or 2 days ago in my video, I talked about there's no Robinhood in the crypto space, and somebody commented talking about Voyager. So I'm going to check that out because they said there's 0 fees, and I think those are the kind of applications that the general public will want and need to kind of get into this space. And so I'll definitely be checking that out. I really appreciate your comments, really appreciate you guys liking the video, and I'm really excited to continue making videos. So if you want to keep seeing them, keep showing some support, join the Discord, and let's have a conversation. So yeah, have a good day.